Hi, my name is Kyle Magoni. I work here at First National Bank of Bastrop, and today I'm going to talk about 8 ways to avoid online fraud.
Hi, I'm Dana Fisher. I'm here at First National also, and I'm going to talk to you about talking to your children about money.
So, Dana, you have two grown children. How did you talk with them about money?
Well, we started, of course, at a young age. I mean, as soon as they were collecting coins and stuff or collecting money, we opened up a savings account at the bank for them, and they bring their money up there periodically and put it in the account if they could let loose of it. That's important too. And then they got to see me at work. I worked at the bank for 27 years. Oh well, total of 27 years now, but we had a day each year that we could bring our child to work, and so I would bring one or the other to work and see that. Then there's other times that they have tours of the bank, which I encourage, a parent to talk with the manager and have their child come up there and get to see the vault and everything there.
What about teaching them about the payday, like on payday, kind of like establishing your bills and stuff like that?
On paydays and that, I mean, if you're getting paid weekly, I encourage them not to save one check for all the bills that were due that day or that time of the pay. To take a little each kind of budget out of each check, a certain amount for that bill that you knew was coming up.
And like in the market, wants versus needs, and buying in bulk versus buying the other way.
Well, we as parents provide food, clothing, and shelter for the children, and that's pretty basic and necessary. If they wanted, something extra, a toy or something like that, if we hadn't budgeted it at that time, then it was, they learned about that that was something they wanted, not something that would keep them alive for the next week.
And what about chores and allowances?
They had chores and all, but we did not pay for the chores. We did not pay an allowance. I didn't grow up like that, and so my children didn't grow up like that either. Now we did pay them to do odd jobs, and they'd earn it from other relatives and stuff, and they had their birthday money and all that, so they did earn some money.
Okay. What about like paying bills, setting up a budget? How did you teach them? Talk to them about that.
Again, like I said about the paycheck and all, don't live from paycheck to paycheck. Try to spread the bills out over the pay period. If you're doing it weekly, if you're getting a weekly paycheck or bi-weekly.
Credit cards?
I didn't encourage credit cards. I mean, nowadays they want you to use get a credit card to build credit and such, but it's good and bad because you can get in a lot of trouble with credit cards. You can, if you don't make the payments and all that, instead of building up your credit, it's going to ruin your credit, and then you have the high interest rates to pay and forever paying them something off.
What about using the internet as a source of just using the internet to buy goods, or even just being safe and secure on it as well?
Teaching my children about the internet and buys on the internet and security, actually it was not an option. It was before the internet. so they're teaching me about the internet and the safety and all online.
What about saving or vacations?
Vacations, we did it, our family did it like my family did it. The parents would pay for the vacation, and the children could save up money throughout the year, spare change and all that. And that was their spending money to buy souvenirs or buy something extra, whatever.
If you had just one important tip, last thing you wanted to tell somebody, just what would that be?
Mainly teach your children about money and handling money and bills and everything like that. You don't have to scare them to death or anything, but just teach them how to handle money. They're not teaching it anywhere else. And if the child has a question, encourage them to ask questions about money. And if you don't know the answer, then do the research with the child and get the answer together.
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kyle. So, Kyle, can you tell me several ways to avoid online fraud?
Yeah, Dana, definitely. There's, first and foremost, keep your computers and mobile devices up to date with the latest security software. Make sure you're up to date web browser, operating systems. All of those are going to be your best defenses against viruses. And also on your devices, turn on any automatic updates. That way, if there's any, a new update, it'll come in and update it and fix it, any bugs or anything, just so you make sure you have the most up-to-date security. Establish a strong password for all your accounts. Use, 8 to 12 characters. Include a mix of upper and lowercase numbers, special characters. Avoid trying to use like some personal information, so like your name, your birthday, or just simple phrases like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Or anything that they'd find out on the internet, like Facebook or something, like your dog's name or something like that?
Yeah, so that goes into keeping your personal information private. So, on social media, you can post things about, upcoming birthday or anniversary date, and that can help, people that are trying to hack into one of your systems to, get through your security questions. And, it's just best to keep that private and not share that. And another thing too on social media is your privacy settings, really make sure, that, you're
It's
not
just to
accepting
friends or something, and don't accept somebody
Yes.
you don't know.
Yeah, don't accept friend requests from people that you don't know that are trying to connect, because at that point they can access that information if you're posting that online and get through those security systems that are set up. And also back onto the strong passwords too is make sure you don't share that with anybody, and also always use a different password for a different account. So if you have 10 accounts, always try to set up a new password for each one.
They also do an authentication code now. In some cases, you can sign up for that.
Yeah, you can do that as well. That's you kind of you're logging in and to authenticate who you are. You can have like your cell phone on there, and they can send you a text, and then you have to reply back with that number. That's definitely a newer way of securing your passwords and stuff like that. Also, watch out for phishing scams.
And it's not the
No, not a fishing pole. What they're using, fraudulent emails and websites, and they're really just trying to get your personal information and your login credentials. Don't click on any attachments. Don't click on any pop-ups, especially if you're not familiar with the website. Say you just went to one, and a pop-up comes up. Don't click, because then that could take you to a bogus website, and try to get your information or download malicious.
So how do you know if it's a valid website?
So you look for misspellings, grammatical errors. If you get an email and it says urgent, or it's capitalized, it says sensitive information, always just be leery, especially if you don't know who it's coming from.
But it can also come from friends and coworkers.
It can, and if it comes from a coworker and it says sensitive, but you weren't expecting to get something like that, always just pick up the phone and give them a call. Even if it's a family member, just call them and say, "Hey, did you mean to send this to me?" Because sometimes their accounts could have gotten compromised. Also recognize those bogus websites that I kind of mentioned before to kind of tie in. Cyber criminals and that they're trying to embed malicious malware, and links, and they're trying to download that to your computer, or route you to a bogus website. That's kind of how you can see that coming too. Is say if it's an example would be like www.abc-bank, and they could change that to www.abc_bank. So you don't really see it, but it occurs, and you click on it, and next thing you know, you're going to a website that's downloading malicious stuff on your hard drive, and so that's one of the things, just trying to avoid that. And then we touched on keeping your personal information, keep it private, don't post that.
Exactly.
And another thing too is on your secure, like your public Wi-Fi. Always be careful of what you're trying to send through there. If you're connected at wherever and it's a public source of Wi-Fi, be careful what you're sending through that.
But what about at home?
Yeah, even at your home, you always want to have a strong password, because you don't want anybody to be able to come near. Just get within the radius of where your router is.
Of your house. I mean, somebody can pull up on the street.
Yeah, and they can use your Wi-Fi, and end up downloading malicious stuff that way. So you always just want to keep that as a strong, keep it password, keep it protected. And then online shopping. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now, so everybody's doing it. From curbside shopping to ordering everything really. Always before you shop at anywhere, always make sure the website's using secure technology.
How do you know?
Well, I mean, when you're checking out, at the screen, verify the web address begins with HTTPS, and then also you'll see a tiny little padlock, and it'll appear on that top of the page as well. And those are just some things to look at too. And then lastly, always read the site's privacy policy. It'll be long, and it'll be kind of tedious and kind of hard to get through. But what that's going to tell you is how the site protects your personal information. And if you're going through there and you can't find it or you can't understand it, just either consider doing business elsewhere, because that's going to be the way it's going to tell you how it's protecting you. But yeah, you always just want to be careful. So anything with online fraud, I mean, it's very important because we're using it so much more nowadays.
A lot more.
So it's always best just to secure everything as best as you can. Don't use the same password for everything. Make it complex, and just always be on alert. Don't click on things that from people you don't know, or you go on websites. Just always be on the lookout.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome, Dana. Dana, thank you so much for taking the time out today to talk to us about different ways of talking to your kid about money. I really do appreciate it. It's very insightful. Definitely, thank you.
You're welcome. I'd encourage anybody to bring their children by the bank and ask for a tour and see that. And by the way, thank you, Kyle, for the tips on avoiding online fraud.
Oh, you're very welcome. And if anybody has any questions or comments, concerns, they just want to do some of that research that you talked about, our information is listed below. You can get with any of us. We're First National Bank of Bastrop here at the Elgin location, and we're always here to help out with whatever way we can. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.